Hello, everyone, and welcome back to In Touch with Terri. This is season 6. I am so excited. I cannot believe it. So, as always, I want to thank you so much for tuning in, for subscribing, for listening, for sharing. And I have one of my dearest friends, longtime friends, to help kick off season 6 with me at In Touch with Terri, Dr. Greg Mueller. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Terri. How are you?
Good, honey. Good to see you. Good. It's sad that I have to actually see your face. This is the only way I can see you if we're on our podcast together.
We're kind of busy these days. I know. I
Aren't
know
we?
what you mean.
A little
Yes.
bit. Well, for my tribe listening, Dr. Miller and I go way back. We're going to age ourselves, but thank
All
God
right.
we're going to
All
be
right.
talking about his amazing MyEllevate. But Dr. Miller is a longtime friend. I think we've been friends for 15 years. And he is a world renowned inventor, plastic surgeon, board certified in Beverly Hills, fellow of the American College of Surgeons. In addition, he is a public speaker who educates surgeons around the world about the minimally invasive procedure that he invented, MyEllevate. And that's what we're here to talk about today. As you guys know, I am always constantly bringing innovators, movers, shakers, people who can contribute to what you guys need in your practice when you're thinking about bringing on a new technology, when you're thinking about expanding your services, when you're thinking about perhaps what's profitable and more importantly, what works. I am just, again, so honored to call Greg a longtime friend. We go back and we're going to dive into his career and some crazy shit that he invented that you guys are going to find fascinating before he got here. But again, Greg, thank you so much for being here and kicking off the season with me. Welcome.
Thank you, Terri. And it's such a pleasure to be here. My gosh, our friendship spans, over a decade to date
Yes.
ourselves.
Yep.
But it's just amazing to be here. And I'm just so honored to be on your show and want to congratulate you with all your success. So I'm excited today.
Thank you so much. We've both come a long way. God, back in the day, like when we were like doing all of our crazy stuff, and you were inventing the old thing that we're going to talk about, and I was with Medicis at the time. And so, look, I have a laundry list of your bio, but I don't want to, I think the best way to do it justice is to tell the tribe a little bit about you, your background, before we just even dive into MyEllevate, and then your newest invention, the OVO 360 imaging system machine. I'm excited to talk about that, but tell us a little bit about you, your education and your background.
Sure, sure. So, as you know, I grew up in Nebraska, a little town in Nebraska, and even as a little kid, I mean, I could always like look at something and see like, is there a better way to do it? I mean, before I was ever a doctor, of course. And so, as a little kid, I invented something for my mother that helped her know when the washer and dryer were done. And I think I was 12 years old then. My dad said it was too expensive to get a patent, but it was a way of my mother knowing when the wash was done and the dryer was done, so she wouldn't be running up and down the stairs.
Okay,
And
hold on. I have to stop and ask you. Were the washer and dryers remember, I hope she wasn't hand washing. Right? 'Cause don't they have a buzzer on there that like dings you to let you know?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So this is way back.
Way back.
It wasn't the ringer type, washer and dryer, but it was close. And they were down in the basement, and I would watch her go up and down the stairs, and I just thought, there's got to be a better way to do this because I would see her running down there to see if it was done yet, and those sorts of things. So cut forward to, I become a general surgeon. I trained at UC Irvine here in California, and finished med school in Nebraska, and then I left Nebraska and came out here, trained in general surgery for 7 years. And during that time, I was out on a research fellowship for 2 years, which was actually like a vacation. And in that period while I was out, surgery, like gallbladder surgery and appendix surgery, transitioned from open surgery to laparoscopic. So when I was in my first 2 years, it was all open and very invasive. And then I do research for 2 years. And when I come back, it's all using a scope.
Interesting.
So, I saw the benefits of that. And I got to experience patients having a lot of pain and healing difficulties with big invasive procedures and then seeing it transition. So then I finished at UC Irvine after 7 years and then went to USC where I trained in plastic and reconstructive
Oh,
surgery.
you're kind of a smarty pants. Okay.
Oh, stop. Oh my God. I'm a hard worker. I don't know. I
No,
think I'm
I know.
stubborn. I'm stubborn. Went to school forever. But, greatest training program ever, USC, great plastic surgery program, and went into practice here in Beverly Hills in 1998 and was doing these neck procedures that I was trained to do where we made a lot of incisions,
Mm.
opened the neck up. and I could see the patients having the pain, the prolonged healing, some of the complications. And in my mind, I thought, wow, in general surgery, I saw things transition to less invasive. And why couldn't I figure out a way to make a neck lift less invasive? And that's where the whole MyEllevate sort of thought came into my head. And this is back, Terri, in 2000, probably 2001. I had a patient who said, I hate this incision under my chin. I hate these cuts around my ears. Can't you do it? Can't you sew these neck muscles without opening the neck? And so that's when I started working on it back then.
Okay, now I remember you had some kind of a crazy name.
Yes.
What was the thing? The name?
Okay.
What was? Yes.
You're in the business
Oh,
of helping doctors be more successful. So
I
let's talk
am.
about branding.
Let's talk about that.
The biggest
Exactly.
mistake I made was naming the first operation the trampoline platismoplasty. Can you repeat that 5
Let's
times?
say that fast. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Trampoline platismoplasty. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It made sense to me, but not really to anyone else. So,
Right. Right. Of course. But that now, when was that, Greg? That was a. I mean, that you said that was like that was a long time ago.
oh yeah, yeah. So that operation I really started doing back in like 2005, and that was a very complex lacing that we would do underneath the chin through a series of little punctures,
Mhm.
and that procedure was difficult to do, but for me to do, since I'd invented it, it was pretty easy. But it was almost impossible to teach to other surgeons. And we started our company in 2009. That's when we got FDA clearance. So 4 years of really just beta testing and perfecting it. In 2009, we got our clearance for the device, which is a lighted needle and thread,
Mhm.
and that's the crux of the whole technology. And we started teaching the trampoline, but doctors couldn't pick it up because it was very
Mhm.
complex.
And
Very
obviously, as it relates to, well, we'll get into that. So,
complex.
kind of go through the evolution of that when it was complex, and you were realizing this wasn't going to work. In order for you to be able to, one, do it yourself, which you could, but how were you going to be able to expand this, which I assume was your intention, to take this globally, to be able to teach this
Absolutely.
technique, right? Okay.
Absolutely. So we were there with an FDA device, the lighted needle and thread, and the toolkit that I invented has 5 pieces in it, and it has everything from a marking tape to a little puncture device to a dermal clearing tool, and then the lighted rod and the suture attached to it. So the trampoline platismoplasty was really difficult to teach doctors. So what I did is I spent years really looking at it closely, trying to make it better. And in 2011 is when I invented a camera system
Mm.
that I used to just look at the patients in all dimensions. But
Mhm.
I invented it just for me to use
Okay.
as I was doing research. And that camera really helped me see the nuances of the procedure and helped me realize I didn't need to do the complex
Mm.
trampoline. And it is what became the MyEllevate procedure, a more simplified, elegant version of the initial procedure.
So talk about the camera a little bit. Like, is that, I assume that's something you can see inside.
Yeah,
Is it?
well, what it is, no, actually, what it does is the camera, the capture
Mm.
device is on a boom with a light bank around it, and literally it orbits around the face or the body,
Okay.
so it also works for body. And what's really cool about it is it captures motion. So,
Oh,
we
motion.
want to
Okay.
look good when
Mhm.
we smile, right? And when we turn our head to the left, the right, sashay, whatever we're doing, we want to,
Shantae.
right? Shante, sorry, thank you.
Sashay Shantae. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyhow, so the camera system, what's so unique about it is it captures standardized images in motion over time so that you can really look and see what does a procedure do when a patient smiles, what does it do when she looks up or when she looks down, or when she flexes and relaxes her neck muscles. So that's how I created the MyEllevate procedure. I could see the system in motion. It helped me design the framework of it and where to place it, and it became a more simple, elegant procedure that we could teach and doctors could learn.
Okay. So if you were to, okay, so now let's kind of like break it apart now and talk about
Sure.
my Elevate. So when did that, let's call the naming of it. When did the naming of it come out? I know you've had a lot of hype. Cynosure is involved now. I'm so unbelievably proud of you. When did that really launch? and you have begun and prepared to be marketing it, because I mean, I see you everywhere. People are talking about it. I think it's changing a huge, filling a huge void in the market today. So yeah, so when did it really kind of take off as MyEllevate?
Yeah, so it was funny. We were in New York with my business partner Ted Galliano, who's a movie maker. He was the money behind the company, thank
Yeah.
God, and 18 other investors. He and I were in New York City at the Aesthetic Innovation Summit,
Mm-hmm.
and as you know, that summit is very much built on entrepreneurship,
Yes.
getting innovations out there, and they talked a lot about branding. And it was at that very meeting in New York where I came up with the idea, MyEllevate. This is
Mm.
perfect because if we spell elevate with two L's, it's a unique name, and then it's MyEllevate. Like a patient could say it's MyEllevate, or a surgeon could say that. And we thought it was a great word for describing what it does. Elevating the neck, elevating self
Mm.
confidence, elevating your looks, your boyfriend, your
Love it.
girlfriend, whatever
Yeah.
it is. And so that's when the name, when I came up with the name, and I remember telling Ted that at the AIS meeting there, he's like, "Oh my God, I love that name." And we came back and introduced it to the team. Everybody loved it. And then I'd gotten the procedure really fine tuned then, and we were ready for our second launch. Because remember, our
Okay.
first launch in 2009 was not successful.
Right.
It was the trampoline platismoplasty.
Trampoline.
Oh,
Right.
people
Right.
called it the
Right.
platypus plasty. I can't even tell you. The
I was
turpentine
gonna
platypus plasty.
I was gonna say a different name, but I don't want to. I'll keep it PG up on here right now.
I've heard that one too. I know what you're thinking. But anyhow, so it was really a combination of things. Number one, it was the biggest thing was getting smarter, and actually me putting on the shoes of another surgeon and realizing, how am I going to teach another surgeon? So we beta tested it.
Mhm.
And we had about 15 surgeons who came here to the office. It was at an aesthetic meeting here in Los Angeles, and it was in March of 2019 when they came here. And we really let them sit in and had them watch. Then we had them fill out forms like what they didn't see,
Okay.
what they where they felt there were holes in the learning experience.
Oh, I love
And
it.
then we really, zeroed in on those things and found the weaknesses and the blind spots we had, and came up with a curriculum of how to teach it.
And so, how long ago was that?
That was in, oh gosh, it's so, my time schedule because of
I
COVID is a little, let's see. That was in 2019 in March. And then we
so
went to San Diego and introduced ourselves to Barry DiBernardo and Jason Post.
oh my the heavy hitters right there going
Oh,
right.
yes. We were ready for showtime.
Right. Well, I know Barry. I mean, look, Barry's obviously like, part of a part of Apex as well. He talks about it all the time. He's very excited. So transition. Well, I want to talk about like who is this for? So obviously, like, yeah, who's the market? Who can perform this procedure, and
Sure.
who is the ideal candidate for this type of procedure? Because I want to get down to, again, a lot of our clients, and it's a vast majority. There are people that are coming out of fellowship, starting a plastic surgery practice. There are plastics that don't do it, that want to expand their service offerings. And then obviously there's the extenders. And I don't even know if you guys are there yet. I know we want to perfect this in the right hands. So who can perform it? And then who's the ideal client?
Got it. Got it. Great, great question. So, first answer, who can perform it? Who is our ideal MyEllevate surgeon?
Mhm.
Um, any surgeon who is well knowledged or well educated about the anatomy of the neck, somebody who knows how to do liposuction of the neck and is experienced in doing liposuction of the neck, so they understand what the limitations are to fat removal,
Mhm.
and so that they understand where the shortfalls are. So we want doctors who have a great understanding of that area, and these are doctors who are trained in facial plastic surgery, dermatologic surgery,
Mhm.
or oculoplastic surgery, because those training programs now are quite comprehensive.
Okay.
And most of those programs will teach those surgeons how to do liposuction of the neck and how to be safe in that region. Because, we know there's a lot of vital
Mhm.
anatomy in the
Mhm.
neck area. So those are the surgeons we're looking for. We're looking for surgeons who are really comfortable in that area and also understand what liposuction does. And then the next level of surgeons are those surgeons who use energy, because energy
Okay.
tightens the skin.
Hmm.
And what MyEllevate does, MyEllevate really helps to shape the underlying foundation, the muscles and
Hmm.
glands, because those are the things that start giving
Right.
us that,
Right.
where our chin
Right.
becomes connected to the chest. It's the muscles drooping.
One big thing.
That's
Right. Interesting. Okay.
so that's what MyEllevate does. It lifts those muscles underneath, and then you can use energy, something like Precision TX, which is
Hmm.
a cynosure technology. That's a laser to tighten the skin. That's the old smart lipo.
Right.
Or something like Face Tight, which is radio frequency to tighten the skin, or Renuvion, which is J plasma, and
Hmm.
that's a gas that tightens the skin, or even Vaser. So that's energy that tightens the skin. So surgeons who are ideally suited for MyEllevate are surgeons who can do liposuction of the neck, and surgeons who have an energy-based skin tightening technology, because the combination of the three is an amazing synergy. So
That's what I was going to ask, Greg. Yeah, what percent?
yeah,
And I guess that's a loaded question, but we'll get into the ideal client. But and
sure.
maybe you'll answer it when we get into that because I was going to
Yeah.
say, do the clients vary? Does everybody need lipo? Does somebody need just tightening? And I'm sure that's everybody's different. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So those are the ideal surgeons, and we're not looking at physicians extenders right now, because there aren't a lot of them who do a lot of liposuction and so on. And this is not a thread lift. I mean, we
mhm.
always tell
Right.
doctors straight up, this is not
This
a
is
thread
not.
lift. You're not just
Let's
doing
not
this in
get it.
your clinic. Yeah,
Let's not get it twisted, sister.
yeah,
Right? Yeah. Yep.
yeah, yeah. This is delivering a suture right
Mhm.
onto the muscle using light guided technology. I mean, that's really what MyEllevate is. And
But
so
I want
we
to I want to preface that, Greg. I really want you to say that again because I think again, anybody listening, it's really important to so that you can understand, people can understand who this is for and who it's not. I know people try to sometimes, get around it and say that, they want to try to do it, but what, Greg, if you can kind of just repeat that piece again, I think it's really important about who is this ideal surgeon and how the techniques delivered that it's not a thread lift.
Sure, sure, absolutely.
Mm.
So the MyEllevate procedure is not a thread lift. It is a more involved procedure in that we are delivering a suture right down onto the muscle using light guided surgical delivery technology that delivers the suture. So compared to thread lifts, threads are placed in the substance of the skin itself, and they are barbed sutures that are absorbable, and they just lift the skin envelope.
Mhm.
MyElevate's different. MyEllevate is supporting the foundation of the neck by lifting and shaping the muscles and glands. So totally different.
I love that. Okay, Greg, I'm just curious for myself, and I'm sure people would ask this as well. Could you or any surgeon that's qualified to do this procedure do an upper like lift, facelift, and then MyEllevate below? Is that a
Yes.
possibility?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So you asked earlier about patient selection, and so
Yes.
we've really got this in a beautiful, elegant format. And I worked on this with Barry DiBernardo
Mhm.
and Jason Posner. So it's a 1, 2, 3 patient selection.
Okay.
Type 1 patient. That's a young, think of a young person that I'm sure you've known. I know it's not you because I know your neck. You have a beautiful neck. But think of people that we know who were born with that ski slope neck.
Hmm.
They're beautiful, but they just have like this ski slope.
Yeah.
And they might be 25 and they're in great shape and so on, but just their genetics are such that the muscles just connect from the chin to the chest.
Yeah.
Great candidates. That's a type 1 where you'd go in and just use MyEllevate to really give them the jawline they
Mm.
always wanted. So with that one, you're kind of defying genetics, if you want to think of
Yeah.
it that way.
Hmm.
And then a type 2 patient, that's the one we just got done talking about. That's the patient where you'd combine energy based skin
Yeah.
tightening. That's kind of you and I's group. Um, I like to
Yes.
think of us
Yeah.
on the youngers. Yeah. So early signs of aging,
Hmm.
looking in the mirror, saying to ourselves, "Wow, I don't like this muscle
Hmm.
banding I'm seeing. My face looks beautiful, my fillers work great, or whatever, but I'm not a patient who wants a facelift. So I would like to go to my doctor and have some energy to tighten my skin, a little lipo to remove a little fat. We all have a
Hmm.
little, and
Hmm.
then MyEllevate to shape and support the underlying muscles without opening the neck. No incisions,
Amazing.
Terry, none. Everything done through little punctures. That's a type 2. Then you asked me about a type 3. That's combining MyEllevate with a facelift or neck lift. Absolutely. Barry DiBernardo and Jason Posner, they've come up with like a little mini lift that we call MyEllevate Plus. As you know, I'm here in Beverly Hills. I do a lot of facelifts and neck lifts. So I use MyEllevate to address the muscles. So I'll do the lift, I'll
Mm,
do a smash, I'll do
yep.
everything, close all my incisions. My very last step is addressing the muscles. So
Oh my
it can be
God.
used in combination with skin removal, energy, or no energy.
I mean, this is incredible. I'm so proud of you. I mean, I am
Oh, thank
so
you. You've been
really. I
there
mean,
all along.
I know we have. I remember our days, our dinners, our talks, our drink, our all the things. And just to
Yeah.
see it come to fruition. And I think more importantly, and obviously you being a surgeon and your pedigree is incredible and just where the industry is shifting. And I love the analogy that you gave that as a general surgeon, you saw things going to minimally invasive, right?
Yes.
And I think that as we know, this non-surgical or minimally invasive is becoming so powerful. You know,
Yes.
surgery is always going to be right the mecca. It's always going to be that. But I think that you guys having the ability to use tools and techniques and different things to give these clients what they need, even right, is so
Yes.
powerful. And wouldn't you agree that the industry is just it's becoming so innovative? And what I love that you're doing too, and the way that you just described that is obviously me, you know, having Apex now and but being a consultant for so long, it's one of the the interesting things. Look, we can talk about benchmarks and what a surgeon should make per hour. Now, because I want to get into the I want to get in, I really if you're okay with it, I want to talk about the
Sure.
profitability of this procedure because Barry and
Absolutely.
I talk about it a lot. I spent 4 days at Barry's office and it is powerful stuff. And I mean, look, we're not just in it to make money, but let's be honest. I always say being a surgeon isn't a nonprofit industry, right?
Right.
There's
Oh,
only
yeah.
so much time in a day, so many hours you guys can be in there slaving doing surgeries. So, how do we maximize the benefits of the patient so that they can
Yes.
get the best outcome? And then,
Yes.
how do you make money and make more money even in less time? So let's talk about that, you know, in sort of the areas you just said. What is MyEllevate? Obviously, you're the inventor, so your fees would be a little different. We don't even need to talk about that. But
Right.
what, you know, what is the time frame for a typical surgeon to complete MyEllevate in the 1, 2, 3 category?
Got it. Got it. So are you talking about the time of the procedure? How
Yes,
long will it take?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
great. Great.
roughly. Hmm.
Great. Perfect. So, I am not I don't look at the clock when I do surgery,
Hmm.
and I'm not like trying to race time and, I
Yep.
live within my means. So, I'm not sitting there going, okay, we've got 15 more minutes and then I'm going to do the other one because I've got to pay for my new yacht. No, that's not me. But I will tell you this procedure to put in the MyEllevate itself takes about 8 to 10 minutes. Okay, it's quick. But mind you, there's a lot of preparation
Of
that goes
course.
on
Hmm.
beforehand, and that means we might need to remove some fat. We might need to treat the skin with energy.
Hmm.
So we're looking at 1 hour, and that's a very comfortable pace,
Hmm.
Terry. And that's for the patient under local anesthesia.
Okay.
It's the patient who lays down, and 1 hour later, she's getting up or he's getting up off the table, and you're done. So can you imagine? It's 1 hour of the surgeon's time. It's
Hmm.
so cost effective. And I will tell you, doctors, as I was telling you earlier, this is not a shortcut procedure or a
Hmm.
less than procedure. Patients see the value because when they can go back to work so much sooner because you have not opened them up,
Yeah.
when they can heal quicker because you haven't opened them up, they are willing to pay a premium for this procedure because the value is there for them because it works and it lasts for years. So that's the greatest thing about it. It kind of switches and upsets the paradigm of less
Yeah.
invasive equals less
Yeah.
invasive and less effective.
Hmm.
It's actually less invasive is very
And
effective and long
mhm.
lasting.
Yeah, but that's what I love. And obviously, you know, you being a surgeon, and I appreciate and I love that so much. And I would hope that any surgeon, anybody listening, isn't ever rushed on time. But let's call it what it is. When you do a surgery, you know, you have your OR schedule and you have your fees associated, right?
Yes,
There's time associated with a procedure. And that just needs to be effective, right? Somebody can't be twiddling around in there for 5 hours if it needs to take you two, right? So I look at it
exactly.
from that business perspective and that efficiency perspective and say, okay, if like what you said, this is not meant to be a shortcut, but if this works and we know it works, right? It works. I've
Yes,
seen the before and afters. They are incredible. And we know that we are appealing to now a bigger base of people who have maybe wanted to get something done and couldn't afford or didn't want the surgical procedure, and then
Yes.
all the different ways that you can combine it. It's just again, I've always been so fascinated with your work, but more importantly what you're doing for the industry as a whole, and how you're
Yes.
bringing
Yes.
something to market that is, again, innovative, effective, and what you said, cost effective and very
Yes.
profitable for a practice.
It really is, Terry, and really to echo that and add on to that, let's think about doing a facelift. The time it takes to close those incisions, the time it takes to move muscles around, and to do any sort of neck muscle surgery, and then there's the risks, and there's
Yeah.
also the suture removal. So it's not just time in the OR. And so with MyEllevate, you spend that 1 hour in the OR and you're done.
Yeah.
When you come in and when I see these patients post-op, I just walk in the room and say, "You look great." I'm not in there removing sutures for an hour.
Right, right, right.
It's so there's
Exactly.
time on the back end too that
Yes,
you don't
yes.
have to do that. So, and we do work by the hour. I mean, the reality
Yeah.
is, as a surgeon, we work by the hour. And time is our most
Mhm.
precious resource, and it's not renewable. It is not
No.
renewable. And
Well,
I like to
and
spend
I'm
time with my
glad.
family, and I
Yeah.
like to get out of the office too. And yeah, it's a great thing.
Well, and it's great to hear that. Look, some surgeons want to, ignore money, or some surgeons, not even mean people in the space, right? You think if you have just money in the bank, that's the profit, and that's not always the case. And so, when we're looking at things like this, which is, again, I wanted to have the tribe and people be introduced if they are not familiar with MyEllevate, like what this potential treatment can do, both, again, clinically and financially. And I think that's really important. And we just touched on that. Where do you foresee it going? Like, what's the potential?
Yeah, I'm so excited about it. I think our not our biggest challenge, but it's our challenge right now is, we want very skilled surgeons. We want the cream of the crop. We want the best of the best surgeons to be MyEllevate surgeons. And so when you approach someone like that, they love the idea of doing complex operations because they're technically challenging. I'm a surgeon. I love doing things that are technically challenging. I spent my life training to do them, but getting them to kind of have a switch of thinking to realize, am I doing something because I love it, or am I doing it because my patient's asking for it? And patients are asking for less invasive. So I think for us, I see the future of MyEllevate is getting us more into those offices with these really highly skilled surgeons who are willing to accept the fact that, hey, I can offer my patient a less invasive approach, and I can capture younger patients
Mm.
who are now going to their dermatologist because they're afraid of my big complex operation.
Yeah.
So it keeps people in the practice. I see this as becoming an option for surgeons, even the ones who want to do all these complex neck surgeries where they just decide one day, this patient doesn't want to have her neck open, so I'm
Yeah.
going to do MyEllevate in conjunction with my complex facelift. So I see it expanding. Barry DiBernardo and Jason Posner have done some mid-face work with
Mm.
MyEllevate. I did that in the past, and it's more complex, I believe, than the neck procedure. So I'm letting them do that. So I see applications in the
Yeah.
mid-face, forehead, the
Wow.
works. And it's really cool to see other surgeons pick up the technology and call me and say, "Hey, have you thought about using it here or there?" So I think that's something I see in the future. I see light guided suture delivery being applied in other areas of the face and body.
I love it. Oh my God, that is
Um,
so. And I want to ask you a couple questions about that and how do you go about getting surgeons or training them? But I
yeah.
want to save that until I ask you. Again, you're just like Mr. Inventor. What about your other invention, the OVO 360?
Oh.
What is that? It's so
Oh,
fancy
Terry.
name.
So
Stop it. Just stop it.
it is. So I will tell you, oh my gosh. So the camera system in 2011, Sherelle Aston, who is chairman of plastic surgery at NYU, he and
Yes.
I published the landmark paper describing the trampoline platismoplasty. But that paper was very important because we talked about anchoring sutures on the retaining ligaments and using light guidance. So that is definitely our cornerstone paper, and I'm so excited about it. But we're working on another one with Barry DiBernardo and Jason Posner, where we're going to have around, I think, 400 plus patients with MyEllevate.
Amazing.
So that'll be
Oh,
coming out.
incredible. Mhm.
But my frustration of getting that paper published back then was my before and afters. I was frustrated I couldn't get really good standardized ones. And I knew the procedure needed some fine tuning. So I built a camera system for my
Yes.
own use on a
Not
boom.
your mom.
Yeah, exactly. Remember my mother? I watched her go up and down with the washer and dryer, and I thought, I'm not going to go up and down
I'm
with
not doing
finding
that.
before and after pictures again.
Right.
So I built this camera on a boom. My investors for the MyEllevate procedure saw the camera in my office and said, "What's that?" And I said,
Yeah.
"Guys, I built it just for me.
Right.
This is
You can't
not
have it,
some
right?
commercial idea I've come up." And they said, "Oh my God, we love it. We
No.
want to pay to develop it." So
You're
that's
kidding.
how, and that was 2011, Terry.
Oh my God.
And we hired an engineer, one of the engineers who did a lot of the motion engineering for a movie that you've probably heard
Mhm.
of called
Mhm.
Avatar,
Yes. Oh my
because one of
goodness.
our investors is big in the film industry. So this guy fine tuned and refined the imaging system to where now it's a fully automated system that rotates around the subject, that captures these beautiful 360-degree motion and still images in a standardized format with perfect lighting, perfect positioning every time. And I came up with the way the patients position by having them look at certain visual cues.
Mhm.
So we have, I think, 22 patents on the camera system, international and domestic. And so this camera system now is being sold and distributed around to different offices. We have one in a hair clinic, Ziering Hair. We have
Yes.
three in their centers. They have, several centers in the U.S., but we've got three in there so far with more orders pending.
Oh, good.
And so we're getting that out there too. But it's just a great way to really capture results. We're also doing research with a company in South Korea on artificial intelligence and machine
Mm.
learning, where potentially you would just stand in a cylinder, the camera would image you, and it would look for suspicious moles,
Oh my
suspicious
God.
skin lesions, and the software, Terry, would be able to tell if it looked like it could be a cancer,
Cancerous.
and it would
Mhm.
refer you to a dermatologist.
Oh my God. This is incredible. Is there anything that you can't do? I don't know.
Oh,
I'm
Terry.
about to. I'm.
Oh,
I think I want this camera for my house. Can it circle me and tell me all the things that I need?
yes. Our patients, though, I'll tell you, sometimes they don't like it. But what's been great for me here in Beverly Hills is the camera system. I will tell you what it does. It
Mhm.
makes happy patients happier, and it
Yeah.
makes unhappy patients satisfied
That.
because they see what we've done. Because you know how it is.
Yeah.
Our
Signed
brains
up
play
for it.
trick on us, and they come in and they say, I just don't know if my neck looks that much better. We
Mhm.
get an
Okay.
OVO,
Yeah.
and it's like an x-ray, and it puts their before next to their after,
Wow.
and they look at it and they say, oh my gosh, doctor, I'm sorry, I just didn't realize that how
Mm.
much improvement I had.
That is incredible. I mean, I'm honestly, I'm perplexed and I can't wait to come to your office and see it. So you said people can, where is this being sold? Can people, like other providers, buy it?
Yes, yes. So it is available. Our company is called OVO Technologies, and that's OVIO
Mhm.
Technologies. It's based in Newport Beach, and it can just be Googled, OVO360.com, and there's contact information there. I'm still one of the managing directors of the
Yep,
company, so
of
I'm
course.
very involved with it, and it is available.
And Greg, can this be used now? Is this specific to my Elevate other than this artificial intelligence with this, what could be potentially in the future? Can practitioners or other surgeons use this for other things in their office that they're doing today?
Oh, absolutely. So we have a whole
Okay.
workflow for head and neck. So you can
Oh,
use it
amazing.
for rhinoplasty, eyes, ears, hair, like I was telling you,
Yeah, yeah.
hair
Hair
surgery.
restoration. Hmm.
You could also use it for body. You could use it for breast, tummy. We have a doctor who's using it for breast reconstruction to show his before and afters. And we do motion capture too to show how breast implants move when you press your hands together to flex the pec
Hmm.
muscles,
Hmm.
so that women can really see, other women who've had similar operations to help them make decisions for breast surgery, abdominoplasty. It works everywhere for, head to toe.
Oh my God, this is so fascinating. I mean, honest to God, I mean, I could go sell this thing all day long for you right now.
Thank you.
No, but what I would like to do, well, yeah, as you know, I mean, obviously Apex platform and people know what that is, but we really want to build and put in clinical content, And this is something that I would certainly love to talk to you at a later time and be able to offer it and showcase within the platform. But, my last kind of and final two questions, when it comes to if there are doctors listening and or physicians interested, how do they go about contacting you or showing interest in getting trained?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And Terri, I'm so excited. We started this little company, and you remember when I started it back in
Yeah.
2008, and we were able to sell our company to Cynosure. We were acquired in August of, thank
Mhm.
you, of 2021.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. And we had such growth leading up to that, and that's why we were acquired. But the
Hmm.
beautiful thing is now Cynosure can support the educational
Yeah.
program. So the best way for doctors to find out how and if they are a appropriate candidate to become
Hmm.
a MyEllevate surgeon is to go to the cynosure.com website, and they can just put in the search queue once they get to the website for MyEllevate. And then there are teaching seminars. We have three centers in the United States: Beverly Hills,
Hmm.
New Jersey with Barry
Yeah.
DiBernardo, and then in Boca Raton, Florida with Jason Posner. And we are doing these really, probably we have two a month, and they
Okay.
can sign up on that site and they will be connected with Cynosure. We have a great educational program that we're doing with Cynosure that we sort of created in the beginning. As I told you, we did beta
Yeah.
testing, we learned
Yep.
what worked. And so there's great support and great marketing materials from Cynosure, the whole work. So all those assets are available. And then doctors can go and see a surgery that I do. And then nurse trainers come to their office and
Mm.
actually go through their first cases with them.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. And Greg, I'm sure people are constantly calling you and asking questions for you. I obviously you're a busy surgeon, but if people did want to get in contact with you specifically, are you open to that? And if so, and we'll put this in the show notes, guys, for anybody that wants to contact Dr. Miller specifically, are you open to that? And how can they reach you?
Yeah, they absolutely can. And I think the best way would be to go through my office manager, Erica
Mhm.
Dugas, and they could just email her. And she,
Okay.
we get a lot of them, like you were saying,
Yeah.
anyway. And so
Yeah.
she'll always run them by me and she'll say, oh, this doctor wants to train and so on. And then usually what we do is we guide them the right way. But if people have specific questions, I'm always happy to answer them.
Well, you guys, Tribe, thank you so much and Greg for being here with me. Season 6, kicking it off, talking about obviously MyEllevate and this amazing OVO 360 dynamic imaging machine. It's fantastic. And I'm just, again, so fortunate to call you a friend. I'm so proud of all the work that you're doing in this industry and really giving back. And I think, again, bringing innovation and let's call it again, from my perspective, showing surgeons another way of doing things and a way to be profitable, and more importantly, a way to make patients so happy. So, again, such an honor to have you kicking off this season with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Terry. It was such a pleasure. And hopefully I'll see you soon. We both work so much.
I know. What's the next conference coming up? Are you going to BCS, by the way?
I'm not. I'm not. Actually, Barry DiBernardo's daughter is getting married, so we're gonna all
Oh
go to the wedding
man.
in New
I
Jersey.
know. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. Well, Tribe,
Oh,
thank you again for listening. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this again valuable, or if you have a surgeon or a friend or anybody that would be interested in hearing about Dr. Miller and his, a fantastic, amazing, innovative background and everything that he's been able to accomplish with MyEllevate and OVO, I encourage you to leave us a comment, DM. You can certainly reach out to me specifically, and I can get you in contact with this office manager. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll see you on the next episode of In Touch with Terri. Ciao.